Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the part of the world you're watching this review from. It's Bearable King, your favorite host, and I'm trying to make sure that I record uh, this review on time because the network has been horrible in Nigeria, and I don't want to have an experience of having to re-record this. Okay, so I may rush a little bit. Okay, so today, without wasting too much of your time, I hope last week was profitable for you. How was the elections? I hope it was profitable for you. For those that traded and for those that didn't trade well, there will be new opportunities this new week. Okay, so let's dive into the word for the day. It's taken from Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 to 11. And this is a follow up to the review that we had last week about planning. And it goes thus: Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no ruler, no overseer, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers food at harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little of hands, a little folding of hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. Now, what's the importance of this entire scripture? Basically, it's telling you that if you're going to succeed, if you're going to sustain yourself, you need to plan because bad times are going to come. I've had my bad times this year, I've had my good times. But what has kept me is my ability to plan and to keep up with the things that I need to do. Now, a lot of people live their life by chance and by faith, and thus they get fucked up. And the reason why that happens is because you are not making plans for the rainy days. Now, we all know that ants don't plant, right? So they gather food when there's summer, when there's rain, they gather seed, they gather nuts, and all those type of things. And they preserve them for when there is going to be scarcity, right? So if you're going to succeed, you need to learn how to plan. So please, as we are going into 2025, start planning ahead. What are the things you want to do? What are the things you want to accomplish? What are your highs and lows? What are the lows you don't want to experience again? How can you prevent them? How can you plan in abundance when you have numerous so that when you have scarcity, your livelihood would not necessarily decline? You understand? So when you plan for the worst and hope for the best. So if things go for the best, you have surplus for your next plan, and that would be increase for you. Okay? All right, so let's go into the chart for today. Now, here is what I did for the chat today. I just deleted everything because I wanted to start from top to bottom and make it as quick as possible. All right, so first and foremost, this is the weekly target that I have been looking at from the beginning of the year, right? There's a weekly supply zone or weekly order block or weekly resistance, whatever you want to call it, is fine, right? That's what I've been looking at. So I'm expecting, or I was anticipating that the market was going to move into the zone. This is where we started the year from, somewhere around here. So we had a consolidation, we had a manipulation, and currently we have a distribution into this zone. Okay. Now, I mentioned it last 2 weeks that I was expecting the market to come down, um, down into the zone. And why was I expecting that? That's simply because we have a demand zone around this area on the weekly time frame, right? And most of the reason why I didn't really trade last week, for those that are on my Telegram channel who followed what I was saying, was simply because I knew that the market could still come down here. So I'd rather see a candlestick reversal to the upside before I get into this trade. Now, let me show you another example of this type of setup, right? For example, we had a demand zone here. What happened? We had a morning star here, and anybody that bought from here would have been quite profitable. Do you understand what I mean? So these things always reflect themselves in the market. I would show you another setup here. This is another demand zone here on the weekly time frame, right? Now, all these things can be used interchangeably. What do I mean? Um, Demand and supply are basically the same thing as support and resistance areas, which are usually like your order block areas and the like. So as you can see, we had a gap here, right? And what did the market do? The market tapped into the zone and then the market pushed up. So based on this candlestick, anybody that bought October last year would have been profitable, right? The same thing also happened here as well, not here, here, okay? So you had the small gap here. What happened? The market tapped into the zone and picked up, right? So based on what I've explained to you, just keep that somewhere in your mind. So I'm anticipating that the market may still tap into the zone, but this is more like a spinning top. If let's zoom in a little bit and look at the candlesticks together. Now, if you notice the candlesticks in terms of length and in terms of their distance on the high part and the lower part are almost the same, and the bodies are almost the same. So they're like tweezers, meaning that the candles may be doing what? May be reversing from here. Do you understand? And you know, we had elections last week, so we didn't really have any major move last week. Okay? So this is what we have here. Now, most of the time when I have setups like this, I like to go to the daily time frame to see what I can see, right? Now, on the daily time frame, I recall that over the last 2 months or 3 months, I'd already marked this area as a flip, right? And I did mention that this was our demand zone on the daily time frame, right? I did mention that that was our demand zone on the daily time frame. And as you can see, the market has done what? The market had already tapped into this daily zone mentioned. It has tapped into it twice, which simply means that it may not be necessary for the market to tap this weekly zone as mentioned earlier, right? So because of this, and the fact that I am looking at the candlesticks, I want to see a bullish confirmation that there is a reversal. I've said this severally. If you've been following this channel, you would concur that I have said this a lot. I always want to see a flip before I go into a trade, right? So as you can see here, this is like an equal high and equal low, and then the price is here at the moment, right? So if I see the market come above this point, I know that the market has done what? Flipped and has reversed. Then I'll wait for a pullback and then I will take my buy and keep riding the buys. I could take counter sell trades as well, but the major interest will be taking the buys into this zone. Okay, so this is my expectation for this week and possibly till the end of the year, even possibly into next year. I don't know what the market or when the market is going to do what it's going to do. I don't even know what the market is going to do. But my best speculation is if we see the market reverse, I would like to see the market come into this zone here. All right. Now, let me take this off, right, and go to the 4 hour time frame, right? So on the 4 hour time frame, we had the market run from down here, up here, down here, up here, and down here. Now, what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to take a box to mark the lows, right? Let's give it a color dark. All right. Okay. All right. So we have this, and we have this as well. It tells you what? Basically, the market is currently within a range. Let me delete this so that it's going to be clear. So currently, the market is in a range on the on the lower time frame for the week. This is a 4 hour time frame, right? So this simply tells me that anything can actually happen from here. However, if you notice, there was a demand zone here that the market has tapped into. Okay? So, given that this demand zone has been tapped into, if I see this price do this and close above this level, right? I'll just expect it to pull back into a zone here, maybe an order block or breaker block or a demand zone, and then I would start buying. Okay? And I know that if I am buying, I would like to see the market first run up to this area of interest here. This will be my first area of interest before I look for this here, this here. There are a lot of unmitigated areas above here, but the interest is let the market change the direction first. And once the direction has been changed, I know that my final target is somewhere around here. Okay, meaning that the market could come to this area and still come back like this before going up. But I don't expect it to create a lower low. Rather, if I see a reversal here, I'll expect the market to create a what? A higher high above this level. Okay? Above this level. Now, you notice that I've used some words interchangeably, and that's simply because the words don't matter. Your understanding of the market's narrative is what matters. How the market makes sense to you. Some people will say, oh, support and resistance. Some people will say, oh, order blocks. Some people will say FVG. Some people will say demand and supply. Let's focus on what's important. Okay. So I'm expecting a bullish move this week. But my comfort in the bullish move is going to come when the market closes above this level. Okay, I mean a body closure, right? A body closure. As you can see, the market has not closed above. This market simply wicked above it and came back down. And here you can see that the market did not close below it. Rather, the market simply wicked below it and came back up here, right? And as you can see, the market is closing in the gaps made on the chart, right? So for me personally, I'd like to see the market break out of this channel before I take a trade. Now, if this buy does not happen immediately, what may likely happen? Then we may see the market do something like this, tap into this zone. Remember I mentioned this weekly area of interest, right? Tap into it, push above, right? Meaning that this was a sell hunt. Meaning that for people who think the market will continue falling, this is just to take out their stop losses, right? Or let's say to fulfill all righteousness to close the gap on the demand zone on the weekly time frame, come up above it, then pull back and then run up. All right. So either ways, I'm still bullish on the chart, and let's see how the market plays out. I pray that you are profitable this week. Take your time. Don't rush the market. Each time you take a trade, you're spending your cash, which is the capital in your account, and your mental capital. Okay? So try to balance it. If you don't see that clear opportunity, I won't encourage you to take a trade. But if you do, please by all means fire the guns away. All right? So till next week, remain safe, remain profitable. I remain your host, Bearable King. And please like this channel, share this video, uh, and also drop your comments to share whatever. If you have any inquiries, any comments on how we could serve you better, or you just want to appreciate the reviews so far, please do so in the comment section. Till next week, I remain Bearable King. Bye bye.